Most trucks are built with one goal in mind: getting the job done. But the trucks in this video seem to have been designed by engineers who threw the rulebook out the window. From bizarre shapes and futuristic concepts to machines that look impossible to operate, these strange creations pushed trucking into completely unexplored territory. Yet somehow, they worked, and some even became legends. Stay with us until the end, because the final truck is so outrageous, you'll wonder how it was ever allowed on public roads. White 3000. At first glance, the White 3000 looks less like a conventional truck and more like something designed for a science fiction movie. Introduced during the 1950s by the White Motor Company, this unusual machine was created at a time when truck manufacturers were experimenting with bold new ideas to improve efficiency and driver visibility. Unlike traditional long-nosed trucks, the White 3000 featured a distinctive cab-over-engine layout that gave it a compact appearance while maximizing cargo space. Power came from a range of gasoline and diesel engines, with some models producing well over 200 horsepower, allowing the truck to handle demanding commercial work across American highways. The cab was positioned directly above the engine, giving drivers an elevated view of the road ahead and making the truck easier to maneuver in crowded urban areas. Its boxy shape, large windshield, and unusually short front end made it stand out from almost every other truck of its era. While some people admired its futuristic appearance, others thought it looked too unconventional to succeed. Yet the design offered practical benefits, including better visibility and a shorter overall length without sacrificing hauling capability. The White 3000 quickly found work in freight transportation, proving that strange-looking trucks could still be highly effective. Drivers appreciated its spacious cab and impressive road presence, while fleet operators valued its ability to carry large loads efficiently. Decades later, it remains one of the most recognizable cab-over trucks ever built, representing a period when truck designers were willing to challenge tradition. But as unusual as the White 3000 may seem, the next truck on our list pushes unconventional engineering even further. If you saw the Fageol Super Freighter rolling down the highway in the 1950s, you would probably mistake it for a futuristic bus rather than a heavy-duty truck. Built by the Fageol Motors Company, this unusual machine was designed to move large amounts of freight while giving drivers a level of visibility that few trucks of the era could match. Its most striking feature was the massive curved windshield that wrapped around the front corners of the cab, creating a glass-heavy design unlike anything else on the road. While most trucks of the period were boxy and conventional, the Super Freighter looked like it had arrived from the future. Power came from a selection of gasoline and diesel engines, with some versions producing up to 220 horsepower, an impressive figure for a commercial truck of its time. The cab-over-engine layout placed the driver directly above the powertrain, allowing for a shorter overall vehicle length while maximizing cargo capacity. That forward control design also provided exceptional visibility, making long-distance driving less tiring and improving maneuverability in tight spaces. The truck's streamlined shape was more than just styling. Engineers believed aerodynamics would play an important role in the future of freight transportation. Many drivers appreciated the commanding driving position and the panoramic view of the road ahead. Others simply couldn't get over its strange appearance, comparing it to a locomotive, a bus, or even a rolling observation deck. Despite its unconventional looks, the Super Freighter proved itself as a capable workhorse, hauling freight across American highways with surprising efficiency. Today, it stands as one of the most distinctive trucks ever built, and a reminder of an era when truck manufacturers weren't afraid to experiment. The International Sightliner is one of those trucks that makes people stop and stare because it barely looks like a truck at all. Introduced by International Harvester in the 1950s, this unusual machine was created during a period when manufacturers were searching for new ways to improve driver comfort, visibility, and efficiency. Its most distinctive feature was the enormous glass area surrounding the cab. With large panoramic windows and a forward control design, the Sightliner gave drivers an almost unmatched view of the road, something rarely seen in heavy-duty trucks of that era. Power came from a range of robust gasoline and diesel engines, with some versions delivering around 200 to 250 horsepower, allowing the truck to handle demanding freight operations across long distances. Unlike traditional long-nose trucks, the cab sat directly above the engine, reducing the overall length of the vehicle while maximizing cargo capacity. From the outside, the truck looked futuristic, with its rounded body lines and oversized windshield giving it an appearance closer to a transit vehicle than a commercial hauler. The elevated seating position provided excellent visibility, making highway driving safer and helping drivers navigate busy loading yards more easily. While some truckers loved the innovative design, others found its appearance almost too unconventional compared to the trucks they were used to. Yet beneath the unusual styling was a hard-working machine built for reliability and productivity. The Sightliner demonstrated that advanced visibility and driver-focused design could be just as important as raw power. Today, it remains one of the most recognizable experimental trucks of its generation and a fascinating example of how far engineers were willing to push conventional truck design. Scammell Scarab. Few trucks in history have looked as unusual as the Scammell Scarab. Introduced in the late 1940s by the British manufacturer Scammell, this compact vehicle was built for a very specific purpose: moving trailers around ports, railway depots, warehouses, and industrial yards where space was extremely limited. At first glance, the Scarab looked more like a mechanical insect than a truck, which is exactly how it earned its memorable name. Beneath its rounded cab was a modest 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine producing around 90 horsepower. While that figure may seem small, the Scarab was never designed for high-speed highway travel. Instead, its engine was paired with a 4-speed manual transmission optimized for low-speed pulling power, allowing it to move heavy trailers with surprising ease. The driver sat almost directly above the front axle, creating a highly unusual driving position and providing excellent visibility in crowded freight yards. Its short wheelbase and incredibly tight turning circle made it one of the most maneuverable commercial vehicles of its time. The simple leaf spring suspension and rugged construction also made it reliable and easy to maintain under constant daily use. Workers quickly discovered that the Scarab could perform tasks that would have been difficult for larger conventional trucks. Many drivers even compared it to a giant industrial go-kart because of its compact size and responsive handling. Strange-looking, highly practical, and built with a purpose, the Scammell Scarab became a familiar sight across Britain for decades. If there was ever a truck that looked like it belonged in a science fiction movie rather than on a road, it was the ZIL Blue Bird. Developed in the Soviet Union during the 1970s by the ZIL automotive plant, this extraordinary machine was not designed for freight hauling or highway transportation. Instead, it was built for one of the most unusual missions imaginable: locating and recovering Soviet spacecraft crews after they landed in remote and often inaccessible regions. The Blue Bird featured a massive 6-wheel drive configuration and a distinctive bright blue body that made it instantly recognizable. Power came from a V8 gasoline engine producing approximately 150 horsepower. giving the vehicle enough strength to cross terrain where ordinary trucks would quickly become stuck. What made the Blue Bird truly remarkable was its ability to travel through deep mud, snow, swamps, and even water. Its amphibious design allowed it to float and propel itself across rivers and flooded areas, turning it into a genuine all-terrain rescue machine. The truck's high ground clearance and oversized tires helped it tackle some of the harshest environments in the Soviet wilderness. From a distance, its boxy body, unusual proportions, and bright color scheme made it look more like a space exploration vehicle than a conventional truck. For decades, these vehicles stood ready to recover cosmonauts returning from space missions, often reaching areas where helicopters could not easily operate. Reliable, capable, and unlike anything else on the road, the ZIL Blue Bird became one of the strangest specialized vehicles ever built. Berliet T100. The Berliet T100 was so enormous that when people first saw it, many struggled to believe it was actually a truck. Developed in the late 1950s by the French manufacturer Berliet, this giant machine was built specifically for oil exploration and heavy transport operations in the harsh deserts of North Africa. At a time when most trucks were designed to fit comfortably on public roads, the T100 seemed to ignore every rule of conventional vehicle design. Standing nearly 2 stories tall and weighing well over 100 tons in working configuration, it was one of the largest trucks ever constructed. Power came from a massive Cummins V12 diesel engine producing approximately 600 horsepower and an incredible amount of torque, allowing the truck to haul extremely heavy equipment across remote desert terrain. Its gigantic tires alone were taller than many people, and replacing just one required specialized equipment. The elevated cab sat high above the ground, giving drivers a commanding view of the vast desert landscape ahead. Despite its size, engineers designed the truck to operate in extreme heat, soft sand, and conditions that would stop ordinary vehicles almost immediately. From a distance, the T100 looked less like a truck and more like a moving industrial building crawling across the desert. Only a handful were ever built, making it one of the rarest heavy-haul machines in history. Yet every time it appeared at a work site, it demonstrated just how far engineers were willing to go to solve seemingly impossible transportation challenges. Massive, intimidating, and completely unlike anything else of its era, the Berliet T100 remains one of the most extraordinary trucks ever created. At first glance, the International Harvester Metro van looks less like a truck and more like a giant metal loaf of bread rolling down the street. Introduced in the late 1930s and produced for decades afterward, this unusual vehicle was designed to serve businesses that needed a practical and highly maneuverable delivery truck. Its rounded body, smooth curves, and almost windowless cargo section made it stand out from virtually every other commercial vehicle on the road. Under the compact forward control cab, Metro vans were offered with a variety of gasoline engines, including robust inline-6 power plants producing between 90 and 120 horsepower depending on the model. While not built for speed, the vehicle delivered dependable performance for urban delivery routes and daily commercial work. The driver sat far forward, almost at the front of the vehicle, which improved visibility and maximized cargo space within a relatively short overall length. One of the Metro van's biggest advantages was its walk-in design, allowing drivers to move easily between the cab and cargo area without stepping outside. This made deliveries faster and more efficient, especially in busy city environments. Its unusual shape also helped create a surprisingly spacious interior, which is why it became popular with delivery companies, utility services, and even mobile businesses. From a distance, its rounded profile often reminded people of a rolling mailbox, or a miniature railway carriage. Yet behind its strange appearance was a highly practical machine that helped shape the future of delivery vehicles. Long before modern parcel vans became common, the Metro van had already proven how effective a purpose-built delivery truck could be. The Chevrolet COE, short for cab over engine, was one of the most distinctive trucks ever to wear a Chevrolet badge. Introduced during the 1940s and 1950s, it was built at a time when truck manufacturers were searching for ways to increase cargo capacity without making vehicles excessively long. The solution was simple but unusual: place the cab directly above the engine. The result was a truck that looked compact from the front, yet could carry impressive loads for its size. Power typically came from Chevrolet's rugged inline-six engines, with larger models producing up to 150 horsepower, providing reliable performance for commercial hauling and delivery work. What immediately caught people's attention was the truck's tall, upright cab and short nose, giving it a unique appearance that stood apart from conventional trucks of the era. Drivers sat high above the road, enjoying excellent forward visibility and a commanding driving position. Accessing the engine required tilting or opening sections of the cab, a feature that seemed unusual to many drivers accustomed to traditional hooded trucks. Despite its unconventional layout, the COE offered practical advantages, especially in crowded cities where maneuverability was important. Its shorter wheelbase allowed operators to transport larger cargo while staying within length regulations. Over time, the truck became popular with freight companies, utility fleets, and businesses that needed maximum efficiency from a compact vehicle. To some people, the Chevrolet COE looked futuristic, while others thought it resembled a giant metal box on wheels. Yet its clever design proved that practicality often matters more than appearance. Today, the Chevrolet COE remains a favorite among vintage truck enthusiasts and stands as one of the most recognizable cab-over trucks ever built. The Foden S20 is one of those trucks that looks unusual the moment you see it, as if its designers deliberately ignored the conventions of traditional truck styling. Introduced in the United Kingdom during the 1950s, the S20 was built for heavy commercial transport at a time when British manufacturers were experimenting with more efficient vehicle layouts. Its most distinctive feature was the compact cab-over-engine design, which gave the truck a tall, upright appearance and placed the driver directly above the powertrain. Under the cab, the S20 was available with a range of powerful diesel engines, including Gardner and Cummins units, with some versions producing between 150 and 220 horsepower. While those numbers may seem modest today, they provided the truck with the strength needed to haul heavy loads across Britain's expanding road network. The forward control layout allowed operators to maximize cargo space while keeping the overall vehicle length relatively short. From the driver's seat, visibility was excellent thanks to the large windshield and elevated driving position. However, the truck's boxy cab and narrow proportions gave it a rather unconventional look that many people found unusual. Built with durability in mind, the S20 featured a robust chassis and suspension system capable of handling demanding commercial work day after day. Fleet operators appreciated its reliability, while drivers respected its pulling power and solid road manners. Over time, the Foden S20 earned a reputation as a dependable workhorse, proving that practicality often outweighs appearance in the trucking industry. Today, it remains a fascinating example of post-war British truck engineering and a reminder of an era when function came before style. But if the Foden S20 already seems a little unconventional, the last truck on our list pushes unusual design even further. Ford Big Red. The Ford Big Red was not just a truck. It was a rolling experiment that looked like it had arrived from decades into the future. Unveiled by Ford in 1964 at the New York World's Fair, this massive machine was designed to showcase what long-haul trucking might look like in the years ahead. Stretching nearly 100 feet in length with its trailers attached, Big Red was impossible to ignore wherever it appeared. Its most striking feature was the futuristic turbine-powered engine mounted behind the cab. Instead of a conventional diesel, Ford equipped the truck with a gas turbine engine producing around 600 horsepower, a technology inspired by the aviation industry. The cab itself looked unlike anything else on the road, featuring a sleek aerodynamic shape, a curved panoramic windshield, and styling that resembled a high-speed train more than a traditional truck. Because the turbine engine generated tremendous power with fewer moving parts, engineers believed it could represent the future of commercial transportation. Inside, the truck featured advanced controls and modern design elements that were far ahead of their time. Although the concept attracted enormous attention, turbine technology proved too expensive and impractical for widespread trucking use. As a result, Big Red never entered mass production and eventually disappeared from public view, adding even more mystery to its story. Many truck enthusiasts consider it one of the most ambitious concept trucks ever created. Its combination of futuristic styling, aircraft-inspired engineering, and enormous size made it look almost unreal, even by today's standards. More than 60 years later, the Ford Big Red remains a symbol of bold innovation and a reminder that some of the most fascinating vehicles in history were never meant to become ordinary trucks. A machine so unusual, so ambitious, and so far ahead of its time that it remains one of the strangest trucks ever built. From futuristic concepts to machines that looked completely impossible, these strange trucks proved that innovation often comes from the most unexpected ideas. Which truck surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed discovering these incredible machines, don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.